Hello, I'm Jason Stephenson, and welcome to your Tiny Daily Kick. Welcome to a brand new week. And I always say this is a chance to begin again. Let me ask you something. When was the last time that you felt really wound up by someone? You know those moments when you're replaying that same conversation over and over in your head and you're building a case against them, almost like you've got this little courtroom battle going on and on in your mind. Look, I've been there recently and it's very exhausting. Sleepless nights, anxious thoughts, this feeling of being tormented in your own mind. And also the worst thing about all this is it's no good for our health overall. It actually weakens our immune system. Today's kick is, what would love say? Now, here's what I've noticed. When we disagree with someone or feel attacked, our mind often digs up every wound that it can find. It's like we have this storage, this filing cabinet of unresolved hurts, and the moment it's triggered, these drawers, the filing cabinet opens up, and suddenly we're not just angry about today's events right before our eyes, we're dragging up anger that has been stored 10 years ago as well. And in that state, it's so easy to get stuck in attack mode. We rehearse comebacks. We justify our position. We defend. But what's really happening underneath is that our old pain, that stuff we didn't deal with as a child, it has found a way to be released, to bubble up again. And until we look at it, until we bring something different to it, that cycle, it just keeps repeating over and over. The other day I was in a coaching session and pouring out all of this negativity. I was just using my coach as a soundboard for that day. I was talking about what had happened, what had been done, how unfair it all was. Oh, poor me. Well, my coach, bless her socks, she listened really patiently, and then she stopped me and she said, "Jason, so I've heard all of this before, and I just want to ask you one question. What would love say?" And I'll be honest, when she said this, it floored me, because I realized I'd been so busy building my defense, I hadn't once thought about what love might bring into this situation. And so when I finally paused and took a breath and I asked myself that question, everything changed. The attack thoughts softened, the anxiety started to loosen its grip, and I even went a step further. I sat down and wrote a letter, and not from my wounded, defensive self, but from the voice of love. And the letter wasn't about proving a point. It wasn't about being right. It was about connection, compassion, and seeing the bigger picture. And when I finished writing, I felt lighter, like this weight had been dragging around. It was just instantaneously lifted. And I've woken up this morning feeling even lighter still. And that's the power of asking, what would love say? Getting another point of view in your own mind. It interrupts the old story. It pulls the courtroom out of our mind. It invites us to think of a new perspective. And on a deeper level, it goes deeper than this, because I had another session this morning with our Canberra Circle meditation session with Synthi, and the theme was self-love. Because here's the truth, all of us, every single one of us has experienced some pain or trauma growing up. Some of it's big and obvious, but some of it's quiet and hidden, but it's still there. And as children, we often don't know how to process those experiences. We bottle them up and when we don't release the pain, it stores itself in the subconscious. And later in life, situations arise, arguments, misunderstandings, disagreements, and that presses on those old bruises. And suddenly, it's the child reacting in us, not the adult. And the only thing that truly heals that child is love, not judgment, not another round of self-criticism, but compassion, gentleness, and patience. So when we ask, what would love say? We're not only changing how we relate to someone else, but we're also speaking directly to that younger part of ourselves that's still waiting to be healed and waiting to make our life easier. So how can we practice this? Well, here's one thing. Next time these attack thoughts are rising, stop, pause and breathe, and just simply ask yourself, what would love say right now? You can write it out if you want. You might want to try writing a letter from love's perspective. And even if you never send it to someone, just the act of writing shifts your energy. And don't forget to ask the same question about yourself. If you're caught in self-criticism, pause and ask, what would love say to me? And chances are it's something softer, kinder, more forgiving than the voice that you've been listening to. So let me ask you, what situation are you facing right now that's been weighing heavy on your heart? And imagine love sitting across from you at the table. That could represent anything for you. What would love whisper into your ear? It might not be the answer you expect. It might not be the answer your pride wants to hear, but I promise you, it's the answer that your soul needs to hear. Because when we choose love, even in the middle of conflict, we stop recycling the old hurts. We stop handing our power to the past, and instead we begin to live from a place of healing. So today, when the mind starts to attack, take a pause, ask the question, and let love speak. If you've been enjoying these tiny daily kicks, don't forget to follow and share the podcast so others can join too. Until next time, I'm Jason Stephenson. Imagine boldly, then go out and live it.